Welcome to the UNLV Writing Center's workshop about how to compose a research question. Albert Einstein said, "If I had an hour to solve a problem and my life depended on the solution, I would spend the first 55 minutes determining the proper question to ask. For once I know the proper question, I could solve the problem in less than 5 minutes." Developing a strong research question is one of the most important parts of the research process. A strong research question will help you focus your topic and lead you towards a compelling argument. In this workshop, we will talk about the differences between topics and issues and address how to choose and narrow a research topic. We will also look at the process of transitioning from a topic to a research question by discussing how to develop and evaluate a research question. Finally, to improve the skills discussed in this workshop, we will practice with examples as well as look at some helpful resources. Often when we talk about research questions, you'll hear the words topic and issue come up. So let's first define those. Topics and issues are two different but related things that are essential for a research paper. A topic is simply what the research paper is about. Big or broad topics can be broken down into subtopics. For example, the topic of nuclear waste disposal can be broken down into subtopics of environmental, economic, and human health concerns. Always stick with one major topic and decide which subtopics you want to focus on. If you are writing about nuclear waste disposal, you might write only about the environmental concerns, or you might write about health and environmental concerns. It depends on the length and scope of your essay and what you want to achieve. Unlike a topic, an issue involves a stance. An issue is a concept upon which you can take a stand, a point of discussion, or a debate. To make an argument about an issue, you can take a side, support a position, or dispute the opposition. For example, nuclear waste disposal is a controversial issue with many perspectives. The issue is especially prevalent in Nevada because of Yucca Mountain and the plan to store America's nuclear waste there. There are many perspectives or ways of seeing this and many arguments both for and against storing nuclear waste at Yucca Mountain. Some people might argue that it is the safest place for it, while others might argue that it could be disturbed by an earthquake or that the mountain is sacred for some Native American tribes. The fact that there are so many perspectives makes this an interesting issue to research and add your own argument to what is already being said. So, to bring topics and issues back to the action of composing a research question, the first step for any research project is to choose a topic. If possible, try to choose a topic that interests you or that you care about. Most importantly, any research papers that you write for your instructors are designed with the goal of having you communicate your own ideas and arguments and using evidence from your sources to support them. So make sure that your topic is one that will spark your own thoughts and opinions. Plus, if you're interested in or care about the topic, the chances are good that others will also be interested in it. Also, you're more likely to write an engaging essay if the topic interests you. And, of course, the research and reading you will need to do will be a lot more fun. Research can take a lot of time, so it's best to be interested in what you're reading. While it is helpful to pick a topic that you are passionate about, you will also need to choose a topic that is both appropriate for your assignment and one that can be actually researched. This is an important step that we will explain more about in just a few minutes. When you are choosing a topic and thinking about a research question, reference materials and general readings can help you establish a starting point and break down key terms and definitions to gain a better understanding of your topic or issue. These materials can also help introduce you to major works, important authors, and key issues related to your topic or issue. When you are deciding on a topic, the UNLV library has several resources that can help you with your research to find these starter materials. One great resource is Credo, a database that you can find on the library's website. It searches encyclopedias and historical sources to give you a background information about many topics. The link to Credo is located below in the video's description. Once you've begun to familiarize yourself with a general topic, you want to hone in on a specific issue surrounding that topic. It's important to focus your topic and not take on something too broad. Is the question too broad or too narrow? Is it too general and will there be too many sources about it? Or is it too narrow and there will be too few sources about it? You will want to get in the Goldilocks zone, not too broad, not too narrow, just right. Here are some important questions you can ask yourself when it comes to narrowing your topic. What subtopics relate to the major topic? What questions did your reading raise? Start with who, what, where, when, why, and how. What do you find interesting about your topic? Who would be interested in the issue? Think about your audience. What aspects of the topic are they likely to want to read about? If this is something you are worried about, you can always ask your professor or come talk to us at the Writing Center. After you've narrowed your topic to a more specific issue, you have to think about the specific question you want to ask your audience and answer with your research. It is important to explore open-ended questions about your research topic. Asking questions about your topic adds focus. Thinking about the subtopics of any major topic, you can begin by generating questions that begin with who, what, where, when, why, and how. These questions do not have simple yes or no answers. You also want to consider the so what of your topic. Why does the topic matter to you? What is important about this topic? Why should it matter to others? Once you have an idea about the question or questions you want to ask, you have to make sure that they are developed enough for your assignment. The first thing you want to consider is if your research question addresses the goals your instructor set for you in the prompt. If so, then you want to make sure that your research question is clear. A research question should be clear and easily understood as it functions as the main issue you address with your research. Your research question should also be focused. If your assignment is to write an 8-page paper, you probably don't want to ask a question as big or as general as, what are the causes and effects of air pollution? This topic would be too big for an 8-page paper. Instead, ask a more focused question such as, what are the causes and health effects of air pollution in Las Vegas? This focuses on a specific place, Las Vegas, and asks about the health effects on people who live here. Finally, your research question should also be complex. It shouldn't have a simple yes or no answer. Instead, it should be a question that generates conversation. A good research question requires you to consult and read various sources and analyze what you have learned. As mentioned before, remember to consider if the question is fully researchable. To determine this, you will want to consider things like the information available on the topic or issue. Some topics or issues might lack research, so it will be difficult to find outside sources to inform your own claim. So you need to consider whether you will be able to find sources to address it. Does the assignment ask for any particular kinds of sources, and will these sources be available to you? Let's look at examples of research questions and decide whether these questions are researchable, somewhat researchable, or not researchable. Do the economic benefits that result from a trash burning plant outweigh the environmental costs? Is sexual orientation a result of nature, physically based, or nurture, socially, culturally based? Does McDonald's or Burger King make a better burger? Pause the video and take a moment to decide if these questions are researchable, somewhat researchable, or not researchable, and why they may fall under that category. Let's look at the first question. Do the economic benefits that result from a trash burning plant outweigh the environmental costs? Is this question researchable? Yes. This question is researchable because you can gather information on the pros and cons of trash burning, look at different perspectives of the issue such as the environmental problems, human health problems, the money generated from it, and compare trash burning to other means of disposal. And finally, find a lot of information on this topic so you will have plenty of resources to choose from to make your own argument. Being able to take a stance and find enough information on this topic makes it a great candidate for a research question. Now for the second question. Is sexual orientation a result of nature, physically based, or nurture, socially, culturally based? Is this question researchable? This question is somewhat researchable. There are recent experiments that deal with the genetic basis of sexual preference, but there may not be enough research to support a credible view one way or the other. You could do some preliminary research to see if many credible sources study this topic, and if they do, you might be able to write about it yourself. The key thing to pay attention to is whether the sources you find in research are providing valid data that stem from research experiments, or if the sources are merely promoting someone's opinion. If there doesn't seem to be enough reliable data-driven information surrounding the topic, it's best to choose another topic that you could find enough credible content to support. Finally, on to the last question. Does McDonald's or Burger King make a better burger? Is this question researchable? While this question may be something to debate with friends, this topic is not researchable. For one, there is no concrete meaning of the word better. Is it in regards to nutrition, taste, or value? If it is better based just on taste, any resources you find would simply tout somebody's opinion that cannot be supported with credible evidence. Better in terms of nutritional value can be verified, but this information alone will not translate into an argument. It either is or it isn't. So you might be able to write a report on the nutritional differences between Burger King and McDonald's, but these are facts that cannot be debated. Because of the vague and opinion-based language used in this question, you cannot research this topic. However, you might be able to define the terms of this topic or adjust it to make it researchable. For instance, if you find out that more people buy burgers from McDonald's, but that Burger King's burgers are more nutritious, you might wonder about that. So adjusting your question to ask, why does McDonald's sell more burgers when they are less nutritious than Burger King's burgers, might then become a researchable question. Your job, again, will be to see if researchers have studied consumer food purchasing practices and if that data can be applied to these restaurants' burgers. Once you have determined that your question is researchable, ask yourself what type of information you would need to answer the research question. Is the scope of the information reasonable? This again relates to whether the question is too broad or too narrow. Given the type and scope of the information, does any element in my research question need to be modified? Are you using vague terms that need to be defined? Are there any parts of your question that are too broad for your scope or too narrow for your scope? As you continue to narrow or broaden your question, you must consider the parameters of your assignment and the quantity and quality of the research available. If you feel like you've reached a point where you want to test what you have, ask yourself, do I have a good quality research question that I will actually be able to answer by doing research? What sources will provide the information I need to answer my research question? Writers often start with a possible research question and then see what kinds of sources are available to them. It can be helpful at this point to do a little bit of research to see if you are finding useful information. We want to make sure that you know that UNLV's Libraries Librarians are available to meet with you to talk you through your topic and to help you locate useful resources. This is super helpful if you don't know where to begin or if you're struggling to find what you need. The link to the library's webpage for scheduling that appointment is also included in the video's description. And don't worry if you find that you need to revise your research questions after reading some of the sources that are available. As we gather more information surrounding our topic and issue as a whole, we might answer parts of our research question to find that there is another avenue that interests us more. That's totally normal, and something you want to make sure that you save time for. Let's look at some examples and evaluate if we think these questions are clear, focused, and complex enough to be researched. The questions are: why are social networking sites harmful? What is the effect of global warming? How are doctors addressing diabetes in the US? Take a few minutes to consider if you believe each question is clear, focused, and complex enough to be considered a good research question. Okay, let's look at each question. The first question was, why are social networking sites harmful? This question is unclear. Remember when we talked about the word better in the question, does McDonald's or Burger King make a better burger? We have the same problem here with harmful. What does harmful mean? Another issue is that the question already sets up the notion that there is a common understanding that social networking sites are harmful. But the writer hasn't established that yet, and many people would argue that social networking sites are beneficial. So, a better question would ask how users are being affected, and it should also be made more narrow by looking at a specific subtopic, such as privacy issues on social networking sites like Facebook or Twitter. The second question was, what is the effect on the environment of global warming? This is unfocused. It is too broad of a question. There are too many effects on the environment that you could look at. There is no way you could address all of them in a book, let alone an 8-page paper. A more focused question would be, how is glacial melting affecting penguins in Antarctica? This addresses a specific aspect of global warming and a specific population that is affected. Our final question was, how are doctors addressing diabetes in the US? This is too general. Your paper would end up just describing the variety of doctor treatments for diabetic patients. In other words, a list of facts that cannot be debated. You want to be able to analyze your findings and present an argument. So a better question might look at the common traits of those suffering from diabetes in America and how those commonalities might be used to aid the medical community in prevention of disease. As we have shown, the process of creating a research question is all about finding a balance between narrow yet developed. This is a difficult process, but something that gets easier with practice. Keep in mind various brainstorming activities you probably tried out in your English 101 and 102 classes, like mind mapping, outlining, or listing, and free writing, or some of the questions we have asked here to help you find a research topic. Discover a debatable issue that you are interested in arguing and finding evidence about, and narrowing down a research question. And know that it is always helpful to get feedback from other people about your ideas for a research topic. Chat with friends and family to see if the topic sounds interesting to them, or to see if they have a differing perspective than you. This helps you determine if it is debatable or not. Run the idea past your instructor to make sure it lives up to the assignment expectations, or to see if they have recommendations on how to narrow or focus the research question. Check in with a librarian to help you see if the topic is researchable, or meet with a Writing Center consultant to help you refine the research question or begin outlining ideas for the paper itself. Do you have any questions, comments, concerns, or corrections for any of the materials presented? Contact the Writing Center at writingcenter@unlv.edu and we'll get your questions answered or take feedback on how we can improve. Speaking of using the Writing Center as a helpful resource, we want to make sure that you know what we can offer you. When our physical location is open, we have a full computer lab with work cubicles and printing access. We also offer one-on-one consultations with writers in person or online. When we are able to get back to campus, we accept drop-ins, though we highly recommend you make an appointment, especially during exam weeks. We are normally open Sunday to Friday, but check our website for most up-to-date hours. Our main office is located in Central Desert Complex, Building 3. Most semesters, we also offer 2 satellite locations that are open in the evenings. Depending on the night, you can find us either in the Dayton Hall South Conference Room or the Lead Library's Armagosa Room. Hours and maps to both locations can also be found on our website. You can also contact us with quick questions, which is any question that will take us less than 10 minutes to answer, without having to schedule an appointment. Send us an email or Google chat at writingcenter@unlv.edu or give us a call at 702-895-3908. As for our online resources, we have PDF versions of our handouts on topics including writing thesis statements, punctuation, and using MLA, APA, and Chicago formatting styles, some of which are linked in the video description below. To explore more resources, visit our website at writingcenter.unlv.edu. Our website also gives you access to the most up-to-date information on our hours, as well as access to our online writing lab and information on how to schedule virtual consultations. On our website, you'll also find other workshops like the one you just watched, as well as a schedule for any in-person workshops we may offer and more. For the latest information on Writing Center happenings, follow us on social media. You can find out more information about Writing Center and UNLV campus events, learn writing tips, expand your vocabulary, meet our consultants, and find some motivation for writing, and much, much more. We look forward to working with you in the Writing Center. Happy writing!